Napoleonic law, or code law, or whatever else they call it. It's a different type of law from the other 49 states in the country. And I'm just learning this now, 4 days out from my my next hearing. I've been arguing case law, and I had no idea. I had no idea that it takes a different approach. They take a different approach in Louisiana. I had no idea. I mean, people have said it. That might have been the first day. Might have been on the first video. Okay, people have said it. It might have been on the first video that they said, oh, this is Napoleonic law. I'm like, what are you talking about? Law's about the same. I don't want to learn all the law in the world. But after enough people have said that this is Napoleonic law, I finally started looking into it. See, Marcel says hello from the Netherlands. Wow, way over there. I bet they don't have Napoleonic law over there. So, somebody mentioned in one of my community posts that there's this Napoleonic law, and they learned it in their business law class, their business class, and they had a business law class. So that got my attention a little bit more. But people have talked about Napoleonic law or civil law, not common law. It's a difference between civil law and common law. So it's a focus on the law the way it is. I think that's why my prosecutor was chanting the law all the time. He's like copying and pasting and chanting the law. He did mention some case law. I forget what it was, but he liked to chant the law a lot. So what do you do? I didn't know what to think of it. I was just like, why do you keep chanting this? And it's because of the emphasis. It's the judge. The judge has to, or the judge, they're trained to decide on themselves. They take it upon themselves to read the elected official, the lawmaker's written law. The judge will sit and just interpret the lawmaker's law for themselves. And if we disagree with it, if we don't think it's interpreted properly, then I guess, yeah, we appeal that. Judge is supposed to be a disinterested party. Yeah, apparently in this Napoleonic law, the judge's role is diminished. I don't quite follow. I mean, in my case, the judge is ruling guilty or not guilty. So it's not that diminished if they have the power to be 6 people for the charges levied against me. So I wanna focus on the law, what's written. Let's see. Jimmy says, "Hey buddy, I watch and love the way you approach every interaction. Stay dangerous." All right, thank you. The Constitution, and I wrote down 3. That's all I got so far. Are 3 laws. Actually, I could write a 5th. Code of Criminal Procedure 215.1. So I'm starting to memorize these now with constantly looking at them. I know my prosecutor Benjamin's got these memorized pretty good, but whether he's able to interpret them properly, I don't know. He's mostly just been reciting the law, not really interpreting it. Let's see. So Louisiana oh wait, what do we got here? It's called Napoleonic Code. I'm pretty sure that criminal law has already been conformed to American law, and even in civil law, I think it has been conformed. What do you mean conformed to what? The whole system is conformed to the Union. So I want to type in. All right, Louisiana Constitution, Article 5 is pretty much the part of like it's like the Constitution of Article 4, and that we have the right to be secure in our papers. So I have the right to be secure in my papers, and it says that clearly. in this Louisiana Constitution. So that's something in my favor. If I'm not going to be looking at case law, then I'm going to look at the laws that are in my favor. And the Louisiana Constitution, Article 5, is in my favor. Also, Code of Criminal Procedure 218.1. I don't know, this ain't gonna show very well. I need to switch it around. Thanks, Chevy. Taking papers for suspicion of nothing isn't being secure. Yeah, not at all. Code of Criminal Procedure 218.1. Now that's advice of reasons for arrest or detention and of our rights. All right, so the cops have to tell me my Miranda rights under Code of Criminal Procedure 218.1. That's where they tell me when any person has been arrested or detained. So when any person has been detained, I don't know why they'd say arrested or detained. Just maybe say. Well, I would put detained before arrested. In connection with an investigation, I should be fully advised of the reason for my arrest or detention, my right to remain silent, my right against self-incrimination, and right to counsel. So that goes against the resisting arrest law that I'm being charged with. I'm being charged with the 14108 from the Louisiana Laws Revised Statutes. So, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Well, first of all, I mean, I didn't refuse, but let's see, we're in Louisiana working for the next 2 or more weeks and actually have to do an install in Natchitoches toward the end of our trip. We support you. Spencer? Okay. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, the law is interpreted by
white female Highland Park near Resco.
I'm waiting for them to call the cops on me. I've never parked in this park before. The statute, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? We got the resisting an officer, and we got that's on me, and then we got what's on the cops. The cops, when any person has been arrested, I have to be read my Miranda rights. What comes first? Do the cops have to if they when they detain me, do they have to read my Miranda rights right away, or is it okay for them to demand my ID right away? It's like, what comes first? All right, I want to know what the crime is, and to me that comes first before we get into ID issues. So in a way, Miranda issues come first before ID issues, but cops are gonna take a different stance on that and say that ID issues come before Miranda issues. So which is it? And the judge has to decide on that because obviously we're going to have some contention there. But I mean, do we even need to get to that point? Because we still got to talk about the reasonable suspicions and break those down one by one. Checking doors, concealing items, acting weird. All right, we got to discuss those one by one, break them down. Yeah, there's the totality of the circumstances that comes after the discussion of breaking them down one by one. That comes after. I think it's best to talk about them individually, each little accusation individually first. All right, so I want to just type something in here quick. Code of Criminal Procedure. And
103 Yellow Circle for medical.
215.1. Louisiana, probably. because I got 218. This 215.1. A law enforcement officer may stop a person in public place whom he reasonably suspects has committed a crime before, during, after. Now, the key is may stop a person. That may stop a person, not shall. They don't have to stop everybody who they reasonably suspect has committed a crime. They may stop. They'd be like, they look over and say, hey, that guy looks like they committed a crime. I may stop them. It's not, I shall stop them. Like, get out there and you have to stop everybody who you think's committed a crime. You may or may not. Shall is not shall or shall not. Not in the legal terms, at least. So, first of all, the cops had the choice on Criminal Code of Procedure 215.1. They may have approached me or may not have. So they decided to. It already started out with optional choice there, and then just demanded ID to give me the resisting, and that's it was
Grant One South. They've turned left now, headed towards LA. It's gonna be a black Toyota.
It was an optional encounter for the police. It was optional. It started the
Charlie Bravo Sierra 101. Charlie Bravo Sierra 101.
It started out as an optional encounter. They may or may not have stopped to talk to me. All right, they could have just looked and seen me playing on my stuff, but they decided because Officer Davis and Favors saw me recording Officer Miller, because I was, you could see on the body cam, I was like, what's going on down there? I was like contorting myself to try to get Miller as best I could, and they saw that. So why didn't they mention that? Oh, he was like watching the park. I was how about make this argument, guys? I was surveilling the parking lot for like 3 minutes. He was actively surveilling the parking lot. How about that? Use that as another suspicion. All right. He was actively
62. I'm gonna clear you. Y'all can hold.
Actively surveilling the parking lot. All right. Let's see. Frank is going to go join the Russian army. All right. Mad Mark says, anyone know how Joe Biden got the bump on his forehead? I'll have to see the latest pictures. I usually do get about a daily picture, at least one daily picture or video of Biden. So what's the latest? And what's the latest? What's the latest on him this hour?
I did a report on her either yesterday or the day before.
Yesterday was our shift, and supposedly last night they had another break-in. Hey, of course, can you look that up? I believe it's somewhere in Washington.
Washington Street?
Yeah.
Another break-in? That wasn't me. But yeah, this area is pretty active for crime. This is in the morning.
Besides firearm, what else was stolen?
What else was stolen? So we got sketchy. See, it started. It started out with the call being some kind of a welfare check. Check on this weird guy. He's checking on doors. That's what I got to debate too. Doors, like the third floor door. All right. There's no signs, and I didn't touch the door. But how do I prove that? How do they prove I did touch the door? And what are the consequences of breaching that door? Maybe we could talk about the security of that door. Was there any? Did you hear any loud banging? Did you see any? You see any marks on the door?
Charlie Bravo
Like,
7211.
of-
CV 7211.
the
Blue Kenworth with Bullbang.
a weird guy checking. They said multiple doors, something like that. How do I deal with that? I'm just. It's a common activity, and I kind of want to make the argument about the architecture of the library and how it influences behaviors and perspectives. All right, how do buildings influence people's perspective on life? All right, this was an old bank, and they built it for bank security
With one patient.
and bank advantage.
Also going to have one
So
rider on board.
Libraries have a tendency to move into these old types of buildings. They don't always. They don't have the advantage of being like a Walmart, being able to build a brand new library specifically for library activities. Let's see, that is a very interesting piece of code there, the LA Code Prim 218.1. Yeah, I wrote that one down. See, I gotta weigh the laws between each other, because that's what we're focusing on in our Napoleonic code. I'm like, I got 3, and I need to write down 215.1 right now because it's very applicable.
US 80 meant to be 10-6 with Black Z71.
Like
Trailer.
3.
Can't see the tag.
If we were to focus on just the laws, 3 out of the 4 laws that would be applicable that I can find, because I can't look up police policy, and maybe there's probably police policy that works in my favor too, but 3 out of the 4 are in my favor, because the Louisiana Constitution says I have the right to be secure. The 215.1 says that the cops may approach me or they may not. So that already started out as an optional encounter. And then the 218, the Code of Criminal Procedure 218.1, just three chapters down, I need to be advised of my Miranda rights on detainment and be fully advised. It even says it in the code. They seem to glaze, my prosecutor seems to glaze over that. And then we get into this law of resisting arrest, where a refusal by the detained person to give his name or make his identity known, or to give a false name. So there's if we were to weigh the lawful nature of each one of these, there's 3 that are in my favor. You don't look at case law, you just weigh the rights that are written by our elected officials, by the lawmakers. Let's see, IVS, what? Regarding Miranda, SCOTUS has said that Miranda only comes into play if the DA wants to use something the defendant said to the oh, okay. Well, I don't know. You're saying that 218.1 advice of reasons for arrest or detention is more for the courtroom? It sounds like it's more for the streets to me.
Eastbound at the 49, commercial motor vehicle inspection.
So
a white closed van trailer. It's got some type of temporary plate on the back of it.
Yeah, I tried to argue the case law, but I can't. It's if that's not really the judge's prerogative, then I'm gonna focus on these laws instead, and the weight of these laws. Just read the laws and then see how the prosecutor wants to apply them to me.
10-4.
So commercial, oh yeah, you're in a commercial legislative court. Yeah, they don't have authority over me, and all that. Jurisdiction is power to the jurisdiction. So, the breakdown for what's reasonable suspicion is a key part of my argument. It has to be. I have to discuss in full detail what is checking doors. All right, let's define checking doors, especially for a building like this. Now, I would look back on my history with checking libraries. All right, I've been in a lot of different libraries of different shapes and sizes, different kinds of doors and stuff. And this one, I mean, it's an old bank. I've been in libraries that were old banks before. They have they have a vault in the center. So yeah, what's my intent? Do I discuss intent with each?
Louisiana 838 Bravo Romeo Delta
Do I
838 BRD.
Do I discuss intent with? Are you engaging the public? I went to the public defender's office, and they look like they're always closed. So I discuss intent with each of these accusations. Acting weird. Do I prove? Prove intent with my acting weird. All right. What? Well, actually, first of all, before you can even get into intent, we have to talk about if it's even something worthy of applying an intent to. All right. We got to think about what's worthy enough to apply intent to. Acting weird? Did I have the intent to act weird? That's not even a question. You don't ask what is your intent to act weird when acting weird is a perfectly legal thing to do. So there's no intent discussion to begin with. And now I'm realizing that, and I'm thinking maybe I should be writing this little note down. There's no arguments over intent if the activity is normal. How about that? There's
Still no connection. Show me citation.
No intent to debate. Intent to debate. Did I have intention if the activity is normal? So what else? Oh yeah, concealing bags. All right. Did I have intent to conceal my bags? Okay, let's not ask that. That's because it's not really a rational question to ask. It's more, the first question you have to ask, is it normal? Is it legal? Okay. Is it legal to conceal bags? All right. Okay, let's do a crime. Is it legal to stab somebody? No, it's not. So then once we establish it's not legal to stab somebody, then we'll go into intent. All right. Did they have intent to steal somebody? Was it an accident? Was it self-defense? All right. So we can't even get into the intent. All right. Until we can establish until we can establish what the crime is.
It may be switched. It's a black hatchback of some sort.
All right. If the person actually did something illegal, you got to establish that first.
Black
So
Chevy Malibu hatchback.
And what these cops have done. What these cops have done was culture enforcement. Culture.
Lima, Bravo Mike 3236.
Resisting an officer shepherdized this offense in the cases surrounding it to its core.
Secured, got a low tire, no damage that I can tell. Maybe 138 will know who it belongs to. When he can check on it this evening.
Intent. Well, no. If you're maybe if you're speeding in your car, there's not exactly a victim for speeding in your car. So I mean, there could be debates about intent. Did you intend to speed? Were you being chased by something? Oh yeah, talk about the porn. The porn is got to be the first thing. I think that even though it's not the first thing discussed in the police report, which obviously I got to mention, the police report was rewritten.
Zulu 056444 Z 056444. It's a blue Ram pickup.
I'm gonna turn that down just a little bit. It's different volume levels for each person on the radio's got their own volume level. So yeah, I guess talk about the porn on the computer. The first thing, man, I got distracted there. That'd be an important thing to discuss. All right, but it's not the first thing written on the police report. It's just kind of written as Officer Davis's observations or whatever in his observations, but it's not an argument made by itself. They overlooked a lot of arguments, potential. Let's see. I don't.
LA6 Pompos 49, Louisiana 561, Echo Victor Hotel.
Define what jurisdiction you are in. I don't know about that. You were challenging, just clarify they're operating on presumptions. Yeah, I don't want to challenge any. I'm going to assume that I'm in their jurisdiction. I'm happy to be in their jurisdiction, okay? I'm not arguing any jurisdiction. Definitely want to hear. Yeah, I want to hear about this porn thing too. Where's their evidence? But it's not like in the pictures I was given. It's not made as an argument. It's just a part of an observation that Davis made. Let's see the evidence. The body cams don't show anything. I didn't see anything. It says, yeah, he's got a wild imagination, and I'm definitely going to bring up, like, this is the thing that bothers me, and where I got to get on in shortly here. I got to get on shortly, is I wrote up a subpoena now for Chief Collins to produce the police policies and then the training records and disciplinary records. I tried the FOIA request and that failed. Now I got to subpoena them, and I got a judge to rule on this pretty much. So I got to submit this now. I got the subpoena ready to go. I'm gonna email that. It'll be a test. I'll see what the clerks want to do with it. Because I walked into the office a couple of weeks ago and said I want to subpoena my officers to come to the stands and testify. She said I had to write an application or something like that. So I wrote something. I got a piece of paper which I put it on my Twitter, and I'm gonna send that. And just I guess I just have to test how they operate with these subpoenas. I've never subpoenaed anybody in my life. I don't know how that works exactly. I'm learning, but I've never heard about having the subpoena for police policies. Rewatch the arrest. His laptop is in plain view after the arrest. No porn. Yeah, look at enhance the screen. Give it to CSI. And try to enhance that screen. This is.
The limits we're going to be out with X-ray 492349.
Turn it down.
X492349 out of Louisiana.
All right. Yeah, I got a subpoena for police policies. This whole time, it's been over a month now, and I still haven't been able to formulate a decent defense for my trial. I could have trial in
route to regional construction at 131 Industrial Avenue. That's regional construction at 131 Industrial Avenue in reference to a vandalism that occurred overnight. That's going to be 131 Industrial Avenue, Regional Construction. You'll be speaking with a Kim Johnson.
Yeah, I could have trial in 4 days if I wanted to, but I got to hold off on that. I really need to see the police policies and their records before I actually talk to them. Imagine going up. Hello, Officer Davis. Would you like to see my ID? Do you remember who I am? He probably will, and then tell me, what is my name? Would you like to see my ID? You know, it's gonna be like that. What about my ID tells you if I what does my ID tell you about me? What does my ID tell you about me? Yeah, now that I hear it, I could go check it out, but it's just a vandalism. I mean, not just I mean, vandalisms are terrible, but
Well, you can all start rhymes.
yeah, that's another thing. And there's some of my line of questioning. It's like I'm gonna sequester 3 cops. Each one I'm gonna have to play the video for on the witness stand, because I gotta go through the videos like this. I mean, this if I have to play it out the way I think I need to, it's gonna be a long day, a long trial, because there's a lot to go over about just what's normal behavior, what are they enforcing as part of cultural behavior, and then the Claiborne thing. You hear that 2 cops mention, "Hello, Mr. Claiborne," or "Is that you, Mr. Claiborne?" I'm like, and then oh yeah, there's a cop. But cops come into this parking lot.
I just spoke to 138 on the phone. He's gonna look at it here in a little bit this evening, afternoon sometime, and see if he can recognize the truck, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, they're just parking. They park here, maybe as part of the courthouse. So, Department of Wildlife and Fisheries. So, I got a few things I need to mark in order as a part of my presentation. I have a good idea. You're all about computers, and what are you into? Crypto? No, I'm not. So there's.
Now, who's it belong to? The registered owner shows deceased, lives out of Jonesboro. I'm guessing somebody in the family got the vehicle.
Yeah, weird fish. There's
Is there a bad spot or road hazard or anything? I mean, it's in a long straight stretch. I mean, you can see it from a ways off. It's just rocks.
rocks. So there's a Mexican family that pretty much became my neighbors across the street from the courthouse.
It's not 29 or anything. I'm getting tagged.
And
There was no 29. I was waiting on a response.
thank you, Tag, for subscribing.
Registered through there.
The Mex.
Before he was able to show some paperwork, he's working on getting it taken care of.
Or it's negative 29.
There's Mexicans that moved in across the street from the courthouse, which is kind of refreshing for me. I hear the language, and I think that they're looking at an immediate, instant arrest for not being able to understand what's being said to them.
92 Golf.
You're happy to be.
GYR 92G, New Jersey.
What jurisdiction
White
is?
tractor trailer.
Yeah, I'm in admirability courts, so I'm recognizing I'm in the admirability courts. That's fine by me. First, you need to record each cop's.
Near the Bossier Webster line, Bolo I-20 westbound from Goodwill Road from a brown Dodge Caravan. Driver supposedly holding
child.
All right. So, the cultural enforcement. Okay, I barely hear that. The cultural enforcement is what I got to get through, and it's like it's got to be part of my opening statement. It's got to be part of each discussion I have. I have to have 3 discussions with each of the cops. I got to have a discussion with Miller, Favors, and Davis. Pretty much I want to keep the same line of questioning for each cop. All right. So we can look for consistencies and inconsistencies with their perspective on their cultural enforcement. Focus on the actual, I'll probably have the prosecutor doing what Sentinel suggests, is keeping the focus. He'll be like, oh, this is irrelevant. It should be 2-pronged challenge, first to the issue of the arrest, probable cause, construction. Yeah, but I mean, you could still ask how long have they worked there, because somewhere it says that their experience comes into play. And I think that's in one of the codes of criminal procedure. Their experience comes into play. Well, there's a lot to their experience to look into. You don't just, I'm new but waking up. Hello world. Okay, welcome to the channel. Dale Hess, did you see Blind Justice's a recent one? I know that he caved in on one of his court cases, and he pled guilty or something. But if there's something new, I haven't been paying close attention. Oh man. Okay. So yeah, like let's just figure it out. You start out, well, see, the thing is, I absolutely need to keep notes. Things I understand about the trial is that you have the opening statement, and then you say, I'm going to prove whatever, that you have no crime. I mean, even after Judge Owsley rejects all of my criminal arguments, or whatever, the elements, the lack of jurisdiction, the lack of evidence, even after he rejects all of that, then we get into the actual trial. But yeah, nothing in law, nothing in our legal arguments seems to have been settled. All right. I mean, I'm no expert on this, but it doesn't seem like we've settled anything on legal arguments. And it sounds like no foundation. I heard about those objections. I took notes. There's like 4 different objections I can make. I gotta start really writing things down more. I have them on one of my computers. I've taken notes on my tablet. I write notes, and then I also have notes on my laptop. There's 3 different sources. I got to get it all consolidated. See, Ray says to require ID requires RAS of a crime being afoot, not just a person being afoot. Yeah, I guess a crime being afoot as opposed to a person being afoot. Look at that. Yeah, it's these cops stretching their duties, from criminal enforcement to cultural enforcement. Just people acting weird. And like I said, there's Mexicans that have just moved in across the street from the city courthouse. They're speaking Spanish quite a bit. So there might be some that don't even really speak English very well. Let Davis get a hold of them. We're talking instant jail. he'll just come up, ask them for ID. ¿Qué? I don't know. No habla inglés. All right, that's resisting arrest. We're taking you to jail. I could see Davis just throwing non-English speakers in jail over this type of nonsense that they're enforcing. That's a scary part about different cultures coming into this area. It's very it's up to these cops' discretion the way they are operating here.
Yeah,
It's
1015 instruction to be released to his wife, Louisiana 954-2438, 954-2438, also registered.
so there's see, I get nervous. I want to argue everything up front. And in an opening statement, you got to say this is what I'm going to prove or not prove, whatever. I want to keep it kind of concise. Yeah, it's the we got to call. So, do I put it in? Do I put what arguments do I put in my opening statement? What arguments do I put in my closing statement? Like, you kind of have to decipher and make a decision on that. You repeat yourself, of course. You're allowed to repeat yourself, but you don't want to overdo that. So, like opening statements, opening trial statements. Like, don't argue the facts. I don't know. I'm thinking. It seems like you only have one argument to make. You never met the standard to be required. Yeah, you never met the standard to be required. That would be a good argument. Yeah. I got some of these arguments saved. I've been doing a lot of screenshotting from the comment sections. That's, I mean, in a trial. My strongest stance is saying that there's been no crime this whole time. There's been no crime this whole time to prosecute. There's, stuff like that. There's been no crime this whole time to prosecute. And I mean, in a trial, it's not like a murder trial where I say, oh, the defendant was never in the area or anything. I'll prove that he was somewhere else, or just there's somebody else who's involved. I don't have to deflect. I don't have to deflect attention to somebody else or something else. See, Ruben says if you make a claim that there's been no crime, then you have the burden of proof. Keep the burden on the city. There's no crime. Well, I mean, there's some elements, there's some burdens I'll take on. I'll take on burdens for thank you for the donations.
I think you just said you emailed the CH. Can you email the 26 when you get done?
I have some burdens to at least, and I have the burden to deny. Just to say, I at least have the burden to just say that's not true. That's even if it's a minimal. Because I mean, if they're making their arguments, and I just sit back and just be like, not say anything. Just that's almost like agreeing with them. So I have the burden to simply say that's not true. If I wanted to keep it the most basic, simple defense possible, the rights where they want. I think they have you right where they want you. They need to prove.
Vehicle rollover, one vehicle rollover, 143 southbound.
A rollover. These people around here drive like maniacs. So, yeah, there's no debate. There's no intent to debates when if the activity is as usual. All right, we got what we call unusual. Well, there's usual too. So,
29, what's your 20?
looking at doors or checking doors. How about looking indoors? You know, cops like to argue that I look in cars. I have to counter argue that I look at cars. There's just ways
I'm
to,
at the 132. I'm being right as well.
thank you, Zapton. Member for 5 months. Instead of saying that's not true, ask the city to show how it is true.
Louisiana Class E 0119.
How is that true? That's just say that's not true. I have to admit I don't like just saying that's not true. But I don't also I in court there's really not a lot of room for questions in your statements. You make firm statements. You don't question. Questions are for witnesses. You make statements when you're making your own talk.
Yes, sir. Did you have those access to?
They don't have to prove you are a citizen and subject to codes. Okay. And there's a lot of speculation. Because that's the thing. And I keep saying this, and it's a result of something. It's the way I claim that the law is vague, and that makes it unconstitutional. Well, that makes the judge angry. All right, when you call the law vague, too vague,
Southbound, 152 southbound.
and that, if you call the law vague, that almost makes it sound like you're calling it unconstitutional, and judges don't like to deal with that so much. I don't like taking that approach anyway. I want to be like, it forces me to have to guess what the cop is thinking. All right, it's not, and then maybe use some examples. And I should like to make up more examples. Of course, there's the parish officers.
152 southbound for one vehicle, rollover 152 and a half southbound.
It's oh, I seem to hear a siren. I think it's that rollover. I hear a siren. I guess it's closer. You know, there's a cop just over there, but I mean, cops park in this parking lot anyway. Please listen to the prosecutor try to spin. Oh, there's no jury, but there's all farce. Yeah, the judge is the jury. So I'm not looking at like.
What's that at the dialysis? Did you make this dialysis?
Dialysis? I'm looking like, when I make my statements, I'm looking at the judge. I'm not like, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. I'm not looking back and forth at all the six people. I'm looking at just the judge when I'm making my statements. And I expect the judge to be looking down on his paper, looking out on his desk, whatever. We're not going to be making a lot of eye contact. I'll expect this look of disinterest, this disinterested look as I talk. But I won't be interrupted. They'll just be silently sitting there, letting me talk, letting me finish all my thoughts. That's the thing. It's like I can't expect a back and forth argument, because it's the way this the court hearings are structured is you could talk, and then when you're finished, you got to make all your points. They don't try to bring out your points for you. You got to bring all your points out, and then you're done.
If you heard the second page.
And then the judge speaks. They put out all their points, and then the prosecutor speaks, or he invites the prosecutor to speak, and then they bring out all their points. It's like it's not like writing a romance. It's not like writing a drama.
You want me to have them continue that way till you know something, or you want to stand down?
Where you get a lot of back and forth.
We got two of both of our sets there rolling now, coming in from both directions.
There's
We'll go ahead and stand down, and if you need further, just advise.
Okay.
there's you talk.
If someone asks you, can just get 222 pay.
10%.
All right.
Rescue 1, copy direct.
There.
607, copy direct. 602, copy direct.
Yeah. The.
Railroad, 137 Railroad. Caller advised there may be subjects back in that residence.
Railroad. Yeah, it's not about the chicken before the egg when it comes to speeding and offenses. Okay, Ray is definitely a philosopher. that's I mean that's the ground the ground that you start off with in learning the law is philosophy. Plead innocent makes them prove your guilt. Yeah, you got to prove not guilty. You got to say I didn't even plead yet. I plead on the 7th, and yeah, and I got to get going on this. I want to submit my subpoenas and start getting feedback from the clerks on if my subpoena is good enough for them. I mean, it's pretty basic. I just want the police policies, the training, and discipline records for my arresting officers. So
Louisiana 637, Echo Foxtrot Zulu 637 EFC.
I kind of wanted to submit it. I think I'd like to submit it to the discussion forum on this my YouTube page, and maybe give it a short time for some feedback, and then submit it. Maybe I should just submit it. I'll have to go for the feedback right away directly from the clerks. Ask what are the facts that support RAS. Yeah, the facts. The facts are pretty basic. They say well, why isn't the porn on the computer mentioned in the police report? It almost feels like something. Well, I mentioned it on my motion to suppress evidence, but the main arguments made are that
a white F-250 on the side of the road. That's going to be the caller.
the main arguments are that
I check out white F-250 you cut out after that.
you learn our laws.
On the side of the road, it's going to be the caller.
Yeah, the main argument said that Officer Miller mentioned probable cause. He reiterated the probable cause.
I'll advise that the female subject in the vehicle is bleeding in her face. I have a trauma headed that way as well.
Man, that's tough. Imagine having a job you got to approach a lady who's bleeding out of her face.
Possible entrapment, unknown injuries.
That's a EMS saying possible entrapment. How can there be a murder? Oh, a murder without a dead body. There can be no jaywalker. How can there be a speeding ticket without a car? Opening statements.
Goes back to a Taylor Mouse 5229 Solid Class A.
You can be pretty liberal in your opening statements, but it depends on how the judge is. Yeah, object based on relevance. The porn is irrelevant. Especially with Miller.
Highway 71 and 3170.
Especially with Miller being so quick to being hands-on. He came for a bar fight. All right, how long has it been? Yeah, almost an hour. You know, I got to get going on this. I want to submit some paperwork and stuff. I'm gonna this is just I wanted to think out loud. I probably spent too much time. Thanks for coming to the live stream.